Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I am sitting down just sort of reflecting on how I used to do my makeup when I was 20 versus how I do my makeup now at 30. And it just, just makes you think back to how times were different, and it's just funny. I remember being, 20, and I think I had 5 pieces of makeup, and that was exciting for me. And now I have dozens of pieces of makeup, and it's just one of those things that it just makes you think, if you could talk to yourself then, how happy your past self would be knowing everything they're going to have in their future versus, you yourself right now knowing everything you have and still thinking like it's not enough, I want more, I need more, or something like that. So just interesting. But anywho, aside from all that, in the spirit of me looking at old photos recently, I thought it'd be cute to try to mimic how I used to do my makeup versus how I do my makeup now, basically. So I'll try to insert some photos here. Of myself at 20. At 20, I was on the verge of moving out of my parents' house. I was working full time and I was going to school full time, community college, and I had a lot of great relationships with friends, and so my friends really, turned into like my family. And one of the things I forget sometimes is that when I was 20, it was when my skin was the absolute worst in my life. I'll try to put a picture in here. Wearing makeup when your skin physically just like hurts, doesn't feel good, and like nothing you try is working, it was really difficult. So that year I went on an oral medication for acne, and that incredibly helped my skin. I'll try to put another picture here of my skin maybe once I was done with that. And I think it was like a 6-month process, and basically my overall complexion improved. But 10 years later, I'm still dealing with hormonal acne, and it kind of feels like no matter what I do, I'm always gonna have that. And so I think the makeup contribution to my life has been so significant because it's just made me feel like I can appear to look how I feel on the inside. So anywho, my makeup abilities at 20 were very limited. I was excellent at eyeliner and mascara. Those were for sure. My eyeliner skills consisted of a pencil liner, top and bottom, nice and thick, nice and dark, and of course mascara, super thick and super just like dramatic for my taste. Foundation was always matte for sure. Everything had to have no shine. I did not wear blush. I did not wear bronzer. I did not wear highlight. Absolutely no eyeshadow until a little bit later that year. I think when I turned 21, I was a little bit more eyeshadow interested, but very rarely. I think I had like a little quad or something. I was maybe given a palette as a present that I would use. And it was always matte, of course, and usually like a plummy or like a mauve color. Those were the colors I liked. Anyways, and now I prefer things a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and try to recreate, let's see, I'll do my old self over here and my new self over here. Okay, let's get into it. So I don't have any makeup from then. I don't purchase the same makeup that I purchased back then. So everything I'm using is what I currently have, and I'll just try to give the illusion that it's looking like the old stuff. So a product I super used to love was by MAC for my foundation. It was the Studio Tech, like the cream foundation in like a compact. I liked it because it was like super full coverage. It would conceal everything, and then you could set it with a powder and make it look even more full coverage and make it matte. I also really liked the Maybelline Dream Mousse foundation. I think that was because my friend at the time really liked it, and so I was just kind of going off of like a friend's recommendation, like, oh, if she likes it, like, I'll probably like it too. And I remember like the little jar, you'd open it up and it would just kind of feel like mousse, like a pile of pudding mousse, and that was always interesting. I think I rebought that like 3 or 4 times, so I definitely loved that. And of course, drugstore. I feel like the MAC one I loved, but I only used for special occasions because I didn't want to waste it because it's expensive. And so I would just like keep it tucked away until like, you know, I really wanted to look really good because I wanted to savor it. I remember I used to also get by e.l.f. They had a finishing powder. It was not a setting powder, it was finishing, and it kind of felt like just like baby powder or something on like the bare hand. You could feel it, and when applied over liquids, it would just give this like blurred illusion, but it was not setting my makeup, so it wasn't lasting very long, but it would look really good right when you put it on. So that was significant to me at the time. I did not wear concealer ever. I did not start wearing concealer until I was probably like 25. I just didn't think that I needed it. So I was like, I just don't need it. I'm not gonna get it. Instead, I would just bring my foundation up higher to my eye, and that was significant enough, or sufficient. So after I would put on my liquid, or rather my cream foundation, because it was like a mousse, or it was the one from MAC, I would then take a powder foundation. I think this was really common in like 2005 to like 2012. I feel like that was common to like put on a liquid and then set it with a foundation. Because when I was working at Sephora in like 2014, there was a lot of like teaching to people that was gonna lead to cakiness and it wasn't gonna last, and instead to use a setting powder and not a foundation powder. So anyways, now setting powders are more tinted, so blah blah blah. So I have here just an old-fashioned compact and a brush. I think what I would have done was actually probably use the puff. This puff's kind of old, so I'm gonna skip that. Actually, I do have this little Tati Beauty puff, so I'll use that. Anyways, my goal was to basically have like no bit of my skin coming through was what I was achieving. And I mean, it often worked. However, this technique is flawed because putting a foundation on a foundation it doesn't look real. It just looks like you have like theater makeup on or something. It might look really good like far away, like, ooh, your skin looks awesome, and then you get close and you're just, I don't know, you just kind of see product. Ooh, let me turn my lights down a little bit. Anyway, so that was my foundation routine. I did not use setting spray because I didn't know what setting spray was at the time. That wasn't real. yet. Like I said, did not use blush or bronzer. I would go just straight to eyebrow and straight to eye. Oh, and I did not use any eye primer, so I just brought my foundation up there. Okay, so for my amazing eyeliner look, I would just take a pencil and just line my eye. And this is brown. I most likely was always using black because I wanted it to be dramatic, and it was. And to me, thick was fine. A thick line looked great. Nice and even is what I wanted, so if it got a little thick, that's okay. And I most definitely did not tightline, so it would just kind of be like a floating line of color like so. And then I would take that same and just do the bottom. Yep, just from the front to the back, meeting at the corners. Voila. If it was a special day, special night probably, then I would really heavily inside the rim line it. But for every day, this was a good look. Yikes. Okay. And then I would just take any drugstore mascara. I think when I was 21, I was gifted a Too Faced like set that came with an eyeshadow palette, a mascara, and like a lip gloss or something. And I loved not the Better Than Sex mascara. That one I actually did not love. There was another one that they made that was in the set. I can't think of what it's called, but I loved that one. And similarly to like the MAC foundation, I would only use it for like something special. With my mascara, I would want it nice thick. I wanted it kind of chunky and really like big. Something like that. Okay, I was very aware of my eyebrows since high school. I knew that if I was wearing eye makeup, I had to wear eyebrow makeup. Like, that was something I never did not know. So for me, I loved dark, thin, arched brows, which is so funny how much I've changed. But I don't have what I used to use. I don't have anything close to that. I would usually use e.l.f. makeup. I don't know if they still make it, but it was a duo. It had a cream and it had a powder for brows, and it had different tone options, and it would come with this teeny brush. It was kind of like a ripoff of what Benefit used to make, and I liked the Benefit one, but it was too expensive, so I would get the e.l.f. I would take an angled brush with the cream side. I rarely used the powder, and I would just fill in my literal entire brow and try to make it look as skinny and as arched as I could, because that was my goal. And I was looking back at photos of me with like a really thin arched brow, and I mean, it was a look. I mean, I think it looked fine. I just didn't like how dark I went. And I remember I would go through brow products so fast because I was using a ton of it every day. Yeah, this is looking right. I don't think I was as concerned about the front then as I am now, so I guess I'll just pack it on. I think the tail would definitely have been a lot thinner, but let's see, something like that. Yep, that looks about right. I'm looking good, at least to the old me. Okay, if I had to have chosen a lip, it would have been something like this color, kind of like a mauve. I had a lip pencil from NYX NYX that was called Mauve, and that was like my favorite. And I remember I had girlfriends who would ask me like, oh my god, what color is that? And I would tell them, and I just thought it was like the best. It was kind of like a purple gray brown, which was totally in style. I mean, I think that's still in style now, but and for sure I would not have put a gloss on or anything, just nice and matte. And voila, I've got my sweet, sweet 20-year-old looking self. And you know what? This side isn't like bad. I'm not like embarrassed of this side. It's just so different from my preference now. So let's get into this good old side. Okay, so for this preferential side, now I go in with an eye product first to brighten up under my eye. I just find that that helps give some dimension to my face, unlike how I would look before. And not like a ton of product, just enough to, you know, brighten. I should also have said that when I was 20, I did not really own any brushes. I think I owned 3 brushes, like one for eyebrow, one for eyeshadow, and like one for powder. And now, I mean, I definitely love brushes, but I still take advantage of a finger moment. Okay, so we got my brightener on. My foundation of choice these days, honestly, is usually like none if I'm wearing a face mask, or something really lightweight and glowy. I just feel like I know I can't conceal texture, and so at least if I can conceal a bit of like the redness and scarring, I can just kind of look even, and that's usually my goal, is to just look evened out. Me also as an adult, me at 30 also, I know that I have a lot, oh my god, it's staring at me. Oops. I'll just be fast. I just know that now I have a lot of allergies that I did not have at 20. R.I.P. me. That I am constantly rubbing and touching my nose. And so to put a thick layer of makeup on my nose is just a comical joke at this age. Very, very rarely do I put on a lot of product around my nose because I know it's gonna just be gone. And even most of the time when I'm applying my makeup, I have to blow my nose, and so it just comes off already, which sucks because you can like see a distinctive line, but oh well. Okay, so that's my face. Just has like a little radiance. You can still see like my pores and texture, but it's not as red and not as I don't know, different. Next, my go-to is like a cream blush and cream bronzer pairing. I just find that adding a little color back to my face just makes me feel a little bit more happy somehow. I just feel like since I try to not spend time in the sun like I used to, like when I was 20, I can definitely get really ghostly and fair looking, so I just like to add a little bit of something back in to give the illusion. Again, that like dimension. I think what this side lacks is, although it looks smooth and very like uniform, it doesn't look like there's depth. You can't see my cheekbone. you can't really see that I've had any like warmth or anything like that, so I just like a little bit of color right to where like the sun would hit me. Give the illusion that I'm healthy. Next, I would do a really fast and easy brow. Just like a nice eyebrow gel to give color and to give a little shape, but not really caring that it's perfect. I also prefer more of like a blonde brow than a brown brow. When I used to get my eyebrows tinted at a salon or somewhere, I would always ask for like brown. I did not want blonde because brown was probably going to last longer because it was darker, so it would fade over a longer period of time, and so, you know, that's how that went. I definitely use an eye primer. Sometimes I use liquid, sometimes I use like a potted one, but it's really to cover up the discoloration on my lid and to not make the, of course it's for eyeshadow purposes, but it is also really to make it look similar to the rest of my skin. I've been using the MAC Painterly Paint Pot recently, and I've been liking that one again, so that's been nice. Okay, and I think just by like concealing my eyelid, it just looks a little brighter, it just looks a little bit like younger, and I was able to kind of clean up under my brow without, you know, using like a brush or anything like that. Okay, my phone got a little hot, so I had to let it cool down. I'm back. I think I was about to talk about my eye. My eye routine now is usually pretty easy. I like adding a little bit of like a warm tone sparkle. That's pretty common for me. Just kind of like all over the lid. A little bit into like the crease area is okay. And then if I have a little extra time, I'll take a little bit of like a warm brown and then just sort of add it to like the end of my eye, the edge of my eye, what am I saying? The outer corner. And then I'll just usually like buff it out to make it a little softer. I would say like my usual goal with my eyes is to just kind of like complement my blue color, just make them look a little like bright. I love sparkles and glitter, so there's usually a little bit of sparkle and glitters in my everyday. Little inner corner highlight. And that's usually like just like a regular look I would do. I don't always go in with eyeliner. If anything, I'll take an eyeshadow to kind of line my eyes. I'll usually take a little bit on the lower lash line. And then I'll add a little bit to the outer corner as such, to give just sort of like an elongated illusion. if I do have the time, I will take a liquid liner, usually in brown. And I'll just try to get like a super small, thin line. Like so. And then I will definitely tightline if I have eyeliner on top. I've just found that instead of making a thicker line on the top of the lash line, tightlining under the lashes just gives it that definition without taking up lid space. Like such. And then of course I still love mascara. That hasn't changed at all. Okay, and then for lip, I feel like my go-to is usually just like a gloss. If I am feeling it, I'll put on a lip liner too, but just like a really simple gloss is usually what I go for. And this is the side by side. I mean, both sides I feel like really showcase who I am in a way. I think the biggest change for me in these last 10 years is I want things to be easier. I want things to not age me. I'm not afraid of revealing my real skin. I think that's the big difference. Is before I didn't want anyone to see what I really looked like, and I was trying to change myself so dramatically so that people didn't really know it was me or see the real me, to say. And now I'm not really afraid of that anymore. I think that comes with time, but it also helps when maybe you've found your significant other or your like close group of friends that truly accept you the way you are, and you're not second guessing everyone's ulterior motives like I did maybe when I was 20. I still appreciate that sick, you know, skinny arched brow, but it's easier to just put a quick gel in. And although I love the smoothness of a matte complexion, I know that if I rub my nose or like my skin over here, it's gonna come off, versus if I do that here, it's easy to blend it back into shape. So I don't know. I enjoyed doing this personally. I thought it was fun to kind of reflect and do the techniques I don't really do anymore. I would love to hear if there's a certain technique that you used to do 10 years ago that you don't do now, or vice versa, something that you never did 10 years ago and you have to do it now. I love that about makeup, how it evolves just like any art. New practices are learned, new techniques are shared, and I think the concept of beauty is always changing, so I love how makeup fits into that. Anywho, I appreciate you for taking the time to sit with me and listen to me and watch me. I really hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.